Hello, everyone. You're listening to Behind the Deal, Escrow Unplugged. And I'm your host, Sherry Sellers, with nearly 4 decades in the title industry. Yes, I said four, right? I've seen the real estate world evolve in so many ways. I could write a couple books, right? But one of the most concerning trends is the rise of the wire fraud. I mean, it's not flashy, it's not fun, but it's incredibly important to everyone out there, right? And today we're talking about how wiring instructions, yes, I did say wiring instructions, those boring little details can either protect your clients, their funds, or leave them vulnerable to their money's going somewhere else and devastating a loss big time, right? So, realtors, this one is especially for you because when you're representing your clients, it's their hard earned money for their closing, right? You want them to feel comfortable and confident and not panic too much, to know, hey, where's my money going? So let's talk about the wiring instructions. So these are instructions that the title company does send. We do send them directly to the buyer, and they will receive the wiring instructions from us, the title company or escrow company. We do put them in a secured website. And in the explanation where we send those for the closing, they're typically including the bank's name, their routing number, their account number, where they're coming from. Sometimes they need, like a memo line. And a lot of times the banks aren't the same either. And the borrowers are trying to ask us, which unfortunately, if we're not banking with them, we don't have those instructions, and we try to do the best that we can to help them with that. So these instructions cover the wires transfers for funds like down payment, their closing costs, or anything still owed, even an earnest money if they're wanting the title company to hold it, right? So here's what's really important to know is, the title companies do not change the wiring instructions via email. Let me say that again. We do not change the wiring instructions in any email. We will not change them in the interim of that transaction. If your client gets an email with updated wiring instructions, that should be an immediate red flag for you. We always recommend that your clients contact the title company to verify those wiring instructions before they send us any funds at all. So there is a phone number that should be in that body of that email that we will have them call and verify it to confirm those wiring details. It's a very simple step, but it can make all the difference to that client and also give them the comfort of the title company that there is handling that wire to know that they're in good hands and that wire should be receipted into us. So now let's talk about what goes on out there because wire fraud is real and it is on the rise. We have seen it here several times, not only at this title company, but others that I've worked with. Is there are cyber criminals that are getting a lot more sophisticated. They hack into the email accounts. They're really good about the Gmail accounts where they'll add an extra I or L. And if you're not paying attention to it, you'll think it's coming from your real estate agent, right? So sometimes those realtors, title companies, or even buyers, and if they wait, they're monitoring the conversation until just the right moment. These cyber criminals are waiting just that right moment to strike and to be able to intercept that Gmail and make that altercation and change those fake wiring instructions. So they'll send a fake email, something that looks almost identical to the real one. They'll even falsify the logo of the title company or the real estate agent, their signatures, their professional tone. The only thing that is different is that bank account information, which is that number. The buyer is thinking everything is legit. The money is going to be wired out. Everything is great. But the minute they hit that button, and if it goes to the wrong bank account, then it's gone. And unfortunately, once the funds leave that account, there's often very little chance of recovery for those wires. I once heard of a buyer, and this actually did happen at a title company that I worked at, is a title company email was hacked and it was altered enough to where you could not specifically see that extra I in that name. And the buyer had thought the email had come from that escrow officer and changed the wiring instructions. The wire did go out, but it didn't hit the title company. We didn't get that money. We ended up having to call the FBI. They investigated. We followed that wire, and the title company knew this. Followed the wire. It went into an offshore bank account before it hit Wells Fargo. But by the time the FBI had gotten to Wells Fargo, which was out of Florida, it had actually transitioned and that wire had gone to an outsource out of the country. Unfortunately, those buyers' funds, which was like $280,000, was gone. There was no recouping it. So, it does happen. I'm just telling you, be very, very careful when you do that. Okay. So the email was fake. They intercepted our logo for the title company. They intercepted all the information from the escrow officer. So just again, now as a realtor, you might feel like you don't have control over this part of the transaction, but you really do. And your clients are going to be the ones that are going to be looking to you to validate this information. So you are in a powerful position to help educate your clients. Here are a few ways you can help. Start the conversation early. Don't wait till the very end of the transaction, especially if you're holding the escrow, or don't wait up until the wire date. Bring it up when you go under contract with your buyers. Tell them to verify by phone, not email, not text, to verify the number to call that title company directly. Talk to someone at that title company to verify those wiring instructions and warn about those red flags we talked about. If wiring instructions suddenly change, that is a big red flag. So, we do use secure emails, and I know other title companies do as well. It is imperative and it's simple. We don't want to share that sensitive information. So now on our end, we, as the title company, take fraud very, very seriously. So while we can't guarantee or promise protection other than using our secured emails from fraud, we do put systems in place to help minimize the risk of that wire fraud. So that includes our behind the scenes today. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call. And again, thank you and have a great day.